All right. Well, no intro for this Facebook Live. It is late. It is 4:14 in the morning. Sunday live updates. Meteorologist Zach Gilday here. Uh, Came back to work to launch this stream because we have some severe weather moving in, and the sound should be working now, Abby. I was just getting things ready, getting some pushes sent out. Had to call in the director, and um, I don't think wall-to-wall coverage for tornadoes will be necessary, but I do think we're seeing these storms coming in and highly populated area going to the Fort Smith area, and we can show it to you right now. We had the radar up for a while, and here is what we are dealing with. Let me get the radar up full here. So we've got severe storm warnings for the River Valley, the Fort Smith area. That is for Crawford County, portions of Sequoia, LaFleur. We've got Franklin County on there. And these storms are what we call, they're looking outflow dominant. So looks like the cold air is racing out ahead of these storms, and that's going to limit the tornado potential. But that being said, the conditions could change. We're seeing those dew points surging back to the mid 60s for the Fort Smith area. I see some comments, a lot of comments coming in. People lost power in Prairie Grove. That's not good. We do have a lot of lightning that we can check on. Here's the deal. So we got these storms moving in. We've got some hail. We've got gusty winds. But I do want to pause it and zoom in on these storms and show you what exactly we're looking at. So you see that the heavy rain is the pink, the red, the orange, but there is a little green strip out ahead of the main line. You see Sallisaw, Brent down to Kyoto. So that is the outflow boundary, and we can see it here in the spectrum with. So that's why I'm not crazy worried about tornado potential right now, but we can't let the guard down. I'm monitoring the National Weather Service chat back here. And yeah, we're getting reports of winds 55 miles per hour by the Sallisaw area. I do think there is some hail with this. We can look at the hail real quick. Yeah, so this hail is getting pretty significant by the VN area, Pinnock Corner, Marble City. We're in Sequoia County right now. The oranges, that's getting up to 1.5 inch, maybe some ping pong ball size hail. And that's what we're dealing with right now. When you zoom out, so there is some hail with this little cluster of storms here. Um, yeah, just monitoring the chat. Um, yeah, so the severe storm watch that has been extended. It's been extended through 7 a.m. Sorry, I just launched this stream and didn't really prepare anything because I wanted to get the word out as soon as possible. So we've got a lot going on here. We've got severe storm watch, and we got the yellow on top. That's the severe storm warnings. I do want to show you the watches here. So let me just get rid of these warnings. Stand by. So this watch right here is in effect until 7 a.m. We've got Madison County. We've got down to Franklin County. The Washington County area too is included. Um, Getting some reports of some power outages. So no tornadoes right now, but we do have severe storms moving in. Okay. Here's the radar. We're monitoring the line. Here's Northwest Arkansas. Just giving you a wide view right now. So a lot of people asking about specific areas, and I do see the comments coming in. I see the Washington County comment right here, Colin. So Washington County looks pretty quiet right now. Well, there is some storms moving into far southwestern Washington County, but Fayetteville area, Springdale area, Johnston area, Prairie Grove. I got a report of a power outage in Prairie Grove. We've got some storms moving in. We've got an Alma. Good idea. Yeah, get the cars indoors. You don't want to be out in this hail. Yeah, great call right there, Andrea. You're in Alma. Just pulled into the car wash to keep the new truck safe. Yeah, you don't want to get hailed. You don't want to get the hail on the car here because there is a lot of hail with this storm coming in. If you live in Sallisaw area, get ready for some hail. Marble City, Brushy, Atkins, Stony Point, Flute Springs, McKee, Long, Muldrow. That's where the hail's going. I do want to do a storm track. Wind is picking up in Poto. Okay. Yeah, well, you're just outside the severe storm warning, but I do expect that to be probably extended into the area there. But these storms still looking outflow dominant here. So that means the tornado threat isn't all that crazy, but the straight line winds, we've got the hail threat here, and we've got Jacob is in here right now. The director is ready to go, and that is a good news. I got my mic and my IFB. What we're going to do here is we're probably going to do little cut-ins into programming as well as keeping this stream up because these storms are going into a highly populated area, and it's the middle of the night. It is 4 a.m. in the morning. These whatever's on TV, I'm sure it's not that important. Uh, sorry if it is important. I haven't checked the logs or anything, but we're going to do some cut-ins on the TV here. Not wall-to-wall coverage, just cover up some national breaks. I think we're going to do that. Yeah, future track, Alicia. See, I'm not showing the future track because the future track is just, it's not accurate. It's not good. We can see these storms right here. And just to prove to you how inaccurate the future track is, unless for some miracle it is being accurate right now, it's just not really a good representation of what's going to be happening. All right. So you see the radar right here? Ready? This is why we're not showing the future tracks. Okay, here's the radar. That's the radar. Now let's look at the future track. The initialization has these storms too far north. And let's see what it does. Well, that's not completely terrible. So that's the future track for one of our models. But earlier during the day, the models were not handling this well. Let's see what this model shows here. Yeah, see this model, it looks nothing like the radar. Let's see what it does. Yeah, see, that's not happening. You can throw that in the garbage. But here's the watches and warnings. Yeah, I appreciate all the comments here. But a better way to show you where these storms are going here is to show you a storm track. And we can do that right now. Stand by. Yeah, see, this really doesn't look like what the models show. This is a lot more intense. Okay, these storms are going about 70 miles per hour. They're going fast. So let's do a storm track. Make this 70. And these storms are pretty much moving easterly, maybe southeasterly. Pretty much east. So let's take it through. So this is where these storms are going here. So Greenwood 434, Charleston around 443, Boonville around 452. We've got a great camera in Boonville that should be able to see these storms. And yeah, let me save this. All right. We've got a lot of lightning right now in Dripping Springs. Yeah, so they're in the storms right now. Almost. All right. Um, I'm going to pause this right now and talk to the director because we going to have to go and do some cut-ins. All right, we are back. So we got the lights on. We are seeing these storms moving into the heart of the river valley. Okay. Um, Let me see all these comments here. So trying to answer the comments, trying to get ready here for some TV coverage. We've got yeah, sorry, I'm not gonna be able to get to all these comments. It was just it was a lot of them. Um, so we've got line of storms moving in, straight line winds, hail. That seems to be the main threats for this early Sunday morning. And waking you up because these storms mean business. Zooming out, so we've got Northwest Arkansas, Benton County, not too concerned about that. Washington County, but looking at the Fort Smith area, let me just pause the radar here. So we've got heavy rain in Fort Smith. Let's see some cameras here. Let's check in on the Fort Smith cameras. Here's public library. Check out all this rain. Yep. So you got hail by the Fort Smith Library. Here's the Fort Smith Library. Let me check out the hail size here. Oh yeah. Yep, we've got some hail. There it is right there. So I mean, it's not crazy large hail, but it is severe hail. You got that yellow. That's up to a quarter. Fort Smith area, the hail is probably not too bad, but worth noting. The heavy rain, the lightning. Let me turn the lightning on. The lightning's off right here. A lot of lightning with these storms. I can hear it from the studio up here in Fayetteville. What else do we have here? Dripping Springs is in these storms, and it is. Check out this. We just got a new severe storm warning, and it includes Logan County and portions of Johnson County. A lot of lightning there with those storms. Yeah, getting some reports of power out in Prairie Grove. Okay, we are going to get. So I missed the comment. What was Abigail Smith's question? Let me try to find it. Bentonville. You're good in Bentonville. Yeah, these storms are mainly for the river valley. You can see the radar. You can see Bentonville up here. Just some rain, some winds, some little bit of lightning, but I wouldn't be too concerned. The area of concern is the river valley, so along and south Interstate 40. Okay, Springdale. Yeah, so Springdale's not. I'm not too concerned about Springdale. Nope. Pretty much Benton County is good. You're good. Go, yeah, go to bed in Springdale. Hmm. Yeah, I check out the power outages. Power outage. .usa. Let me see. Yeah, there's about 2,000 people without power in the Prairie Grove. Yeah, a lot of people just joining, so it is a live update, 4:33 in the morning, and we're tracking storms. River Valley, Fort Smith area. These are the storms that are of concern. So most of Northwest Arkansas, I'm not worried about Northwest Arkansas right now. It is the Crawford County, Sebastian County, Franklin, Johnson, Logan, Scott, LaFleur, Sequoia. If you live in those counties, then you need to be concerned here. Okay, cool. Yeah, give me like a couple of minutes to get a cut in ready, and then we can just cover up. I guess like some national breaks and just do like a minute and a half. All right. So I was just talking to the director. So we're gonna do a cut in on the TV right now. When I get us. I'm gonna make this hit here. So let me just show you what I'm doing here. So behind the scenes work. I'm gotta make a hit for TV. So we've got storm track. Let me move that over here. That's the track. That's good. Let me just save this. Let me show watches and warnings. Let me get this off the screen. The warning. Come on, just show me the watch. I want to show you the watch. So goodbye. Get out of here. Come on. So let's start the cut in with this. Let's move that over like that. So that warning is in effect till 5 a.m. So start with that. And we can shift it over, and that's until 5:15 a.m. And then we can do that. And we can do the track, do the watch, do some cameras. Show Mega Doppler. Smith Public Library. Got this. Got that. All right, let's do that. We can show some hail. It's kind of hard when it's by yourself because you have to like produce the cut in before you do it. You want to show you the hail. All right, here's the hail. Yeah, so Fort Smith is seeing some severe hail right now. Let's save that new show elements. That's good. Oh, let's do that. And then good. All right. Cut in is good. Stand by. All right. So I'm going to pause it again and we're going to do a cut in. All right. So come on. All right. So still tracking these storms. So we're not doing the TV cut in. Okay. So we got paid programming on. Um, yeah. So we're not doing that right now. We'll wait a little bit. Um, still tracking these storms. So if you are awake because of these storms, here's the deal. All right, these storms just went considerable. All right, and this is hold on, 70 miles per hour wind gusts. Storm is moving east, 55 miles per hour, and we've got an upgrade. So this is a considerable severe storm, 70 miles per hour wind gusts with these storms. So if you live in the Johnston area, the Logan, the Scott County, you're about to see some considerable winds here coming up. And these storms are coming in quick, moving 55 miles per hour. So we might have to forget about this paid programming here for a second here and do a cut in. Because when the winds get this strong, we can lose a little bit of money from not airing paid programming. That's a considerable severe storm warning. Let me update this. It's 55 miles per hour. So here's the track. So Boonville around 15 minutes. Lost power in Greenwood. Let me see what these winds are doing right now. Oh yeah. Yeah, these are some intense winds. Yeah, we're just going to forget about this paid programming and we're going to cover it up. Um, all right. Yeah, main threat is River Valley with these storms. Hold on here. Stand by with these storms. So we got 70 miles per hour winds moving into Johnston, Logan, and Scott County. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's just go wall to wall. Just let me just drag this over into my show. So I made a little hit. All right, that's good. Get Megadoppler here. All right, I guess I was not muted. So you heard that. So I think we are going to probably do some wall to wall coverage just because these storms are 70 miles per hour and we'll cover up this paid programming here and just cover these storms. This storm, we got about a half hour remaining on that severe storm warning. All right, we'll wait for my call. Yeah, so Greenwood storms are moving in. But they just extended that severe storm watch till 11 a.m. Yeah, these are some very strong winds here. Yeah, so Northwest Arkansas, you're good. I'm seeing the comments. It's the River Valley, so Johnson, Logan, Scott County, Franklin County too with these storms. The wind is the main threats, 70 miles per hour wind gusts. And we're seeing some hail too. Okay, so we got plenty of cameras to look at, but really no circulation with these storms here. So the tornado threat really isn't there. It's just a straight line wind event. And you can see where those winds are. So Fort Smith is done with these storms. The Boonville area, they're going to be seeing the winds really picking up here. So let me get the Boonville camera up. Yeah, this is looking west. It's got a flood advisory. So we are dealing with some flooding issues here. Not really seeing any lowerings, which is good. So I'm not worried about tornadoes here. It's the straight line winds. Boonville, Waldron. See the Waldron camera. Yeah, not much from that angle, but the winds are coming in. Storm's moving about 60 miles per hour here. So I do have to adjust that real quick. That I do have to adjust that track. Stand by for that. All right, here it is. Here's the newest track. So we've got Spoonville, pretty much in 5 minutes. Paris area, Ozone, Clarksville, Lamar. You can see those times listed: Danville 5:27 and Russellville 5:33. That's what we're looking at for the timing. And that is a damaging thunderstorm right there. Severe storm warning. It's got about 20 more minutes on it. And those winds are strong. Yeah, 67-mile-per-hour wind gusts for Smith regional. So this storm is no joke here with these winds. Yeah, the hail's not big enough to damage the vehicles. The hail's not quite big enough. Hey Jacob, can you hear me back there? Let's just do the 458 cut in, and we can just stay on because that's when the paid programming is. So let's just go at 458 and then just stay on. All right, so let's just do that. Okay, so what we're doing is we're just waiting for the paid programming to end, and then we're going to go coverage. Because it is in a pretty rural area. It's at night, but these winds are getting stronger, so we are going to let everybody know about these. Yeah, let's just keep going. Yeah, so I'm going to get ready here. Boonville. It's late night. It's been a long day, but tornado potential isn't there with these storms. But we are seeing these considerable straight line winds. We've got about a minute until we go on. Jacob, if you could just give me a countdown when probably starting at 30. Give me like a 30 to 15. And then I'll start at the weather lab, and then we can do weather wall and take weather 2. All right. All right, so we're going to go on TV in 30 seconds, and this stream will just keep going. It'll be a seamless transition to the TV. So let's just do that. So it's gonna be black. So we got about 15 seconds. So just stand by for about 10 seconds with this black, and then it's going to be up full.
Well, good evening. Meteorologist Zach Gilday here. It's about 5 a.m. on this early Sunday morning. We're still tracking storms, and these storms, the winds are really starting to crank up, and we're cutting into the TV coverage right now because we're seeing 70 miles per hour winds. Those are damaging winds. That can cause damage to your home, to your car, and if you're outside in these winds, it can even be life-threatening. So what I'm going to do is right now I'm going to take weather 2 full, and then I'm going to walk over to the wall and show you the mega Doppler source right here. So here's what's happening. We just got a new severe storm warning, so I'm going to click on that. Got to turn off the weather radios here. So, well, that's not working. So we got weather 2 showing you the storms and where they're going. So we've got that this more thick outline right there. That is a considerable severe storm. So if you live in the Johnson, the Logan County area, we are expecting 70 miles per hour wind gusts. Scott County too, the Waldron area, and the Boonville area is under the gun for these storms. Now, I do want to break down each warning separately here because we've got a couple of them. So this warning right here, this is for the Franklin County area, and this will expire at 5:30 in the morning. We're seeing 60 miles per hour winds with that storm. That storm is moving eastward at around 55 miles per hour. So these storms are moving pretty fast, and they are about to move into our far eastern fringes. So this is the warning that did prompt this TV coverage. We've got considerable straight line winds with this storm. So winds up to 70 miles per hour, the hail up to 1 inch, that is quarter-sized hail. Counties are included: Johnson County, Logan County, Scott, and Yell County. Yell is just outside the coverage area, but I do want to mention that too. And we can see the main threat with this line is the winds. And I do want to show you the base velocity and showing you just how strong these winds are. So really no circulations. These storms are what we call outflow dominant. So there's some cold air rushing out ahead of these storms. That's why we're not seeing tornadoes firing up, but we are seeing those straight line damaging winds. So you see where that red line is? That is the wind moving away from the radar. So that line, that's where the strongest winds are. So just east of Boonville, moving into Logan County and into Scott County, those winds could be upwards of 70 miles per hour, and those can cause some pretty serious damage to homes, to cars, and if you're in that could even be life-threatening. Now, the instability is trying to work its way back in, and that's why we're seeing these storms, but behind the storms, the atmosphere doesn't look all that unstable, so I think once these storms move out, there will be a break in the action, but I do think later on today, it is Sunday, I think in the evening hours, we could be seeing another round of those severe storms. But as of right now, on this early Sunday morning, we're just tracking this mesoscale convective system. So we were tracking these storms. They formed up in Oklahoma. They moved into the coverage area, and now they're pushing through the river valley. And we kind of thought that was going to happen. And we can see the outflow boundary. So just that little green line out ahead of the reds and the pinks areas. That's why we're not seeing these rotating storms. The wind shear really isn't there. The surface-based instability really isn't there. And I can show you some of our cameras. The Boonville camera will be really good looking at these storms. And I do want to show you that. That's not going to work. Yeah, the iPad is a little bit tricky sometimes to work with, but let me get, here it is. Here's a Boonville camera full. If that can work. Apparently not. Should be working, but you can see the storms right there, and there it is. Yeah, so we got Boonville Elementary School, and we can see raindrops on that camera lens looking west, and I think the line is kind of past Boonville now. But still tracking these storms on this early morning. We still have a couple of severe storms, and if we can take weather 2 full, we've got the considerable severe storm. This is the one that prompted this coverage. If you live in eastern Scott County, eastern Logan County, that is where these winds are. So the Clarksville area up into Johnson County. It might not be windy yet, but those winds are about to start picking up. Still monitoring the line for any signs of rotation, and we're not really seeing that. So that is good news with this line of storms, but we are seeing the straight line winds. And on that line right there, it's where that red meets that green. That's where those winds are, the 70 miles per hour wind gusts. And these storms are moving quick. They're moving about 60 miles per hour. So they are going to be out of the forecast area pretty quickly, and then we can drop off the coverage. I do want to give you a radar tour because you're probably wondering about Northwest Arkansas, what's happening up there. Not much. Let me get rid of these polygons. So there is some rain, Fayetteville area, Washington County, but nothing is severe in Northwest Arkansas. It's when we get down into the Franklin County area, the Johnston County, that's when we're seeing those severe storms. Fort Smith area, you are good for the nights. And LaFleur County is seeing some convection, but those are not severe, and I don't think they will become severe because there's really not much instability to work with down there and the southern extent of that line. And really, these storms have to be moving west to east to have the tornado threats. And as of right now, the storms that are moving west to east have an outflow boundary. So that means that they are outflow dominant, and we don't have to worry about potential for any kind of little areas of rotation, any brief spin up tornadoes. But these storms are moving through quickly, and we can see these winds are the main threat. A little bit of hail with these storms, but we can see the instability is pretty much sapped for the area. That's why these storms should weaken and die as they gust out. But 70 miles per hour winds, that is no joke for these storms to be rolling through, and that's why I did cut in to these storms. But further west, it is quiet. So most of the forecast area is pretty quiet. The Fort Smith area, the heart of the river valley, is west of that line. But if you live in the Johnson, the Logan, the eastern Scott County, that's where we need to keep a close eye on those storms. The Boonville area, the line should be pushing through, and we should be good, hopefully. Here is the watches and warnings. So we got that severe storm warning right there. The pink area, that is the severe thunderstorm watch. So we got through 7 a.m. for Madison County. They should probably drop that. In Washington County, that's going to be dropped. All those Adair counties, Sequoia County, even LaFleur County, those will be dropped well before 7 a.m. It's 5:06 right now, so pretty soon those will be cropped out. But the areas that have the severe storms, that severe storm watch goes through 11 a.m. I think by 7, the severe storm threat for our area will be completely over, at least for the time being, because by the afternoon, we have another threat for storms. And we can see the threat for your Sunday. And it's a big level 2. It's a 2 out of 5, slight risk for severe storms. And this is for later on during the day. And there is a tornado threat for later on during the day. And here's a new severe storm warning. I do want to take that full. So we are down here in Scott County with this storm, and this goes through 6 a.m. on this Sunday morning. Wind speed 60 miles per hour, so it is not considerable. So these storms, I think the winds are starting to die down a little bit, which is great news for us. So we've got, that is far southeastern Scott County with that warning. Does include Waldron. And we can see that darker orange, that is that considerable tag right there. And there's the latest scan. And let's look at the velocity here. So this is from the Fort Smith radar. These scans is starting to maybe not look quite so outflow dominant here. Still straight line winds, no tornadoes, but can't let the guard down. It is springtime. It is May, and these should be out here soon. So we should be able to drop off the air pretty soon here. But we are seeing the considerable tag, and that means 70 miles per hour winds for those storms. But I do want to talk about later on during the day, but we can do that in just a bit. Let's do a wide view. So if you're just turning on the TV, if you're just getting up on this Sunday, we can see Northwest Arkansas, no severe weather. We still have that severe storm watch for Washington and Madison County, even further west in our eastern Oklahoma counties. But the severe storm threat is over for Benton County and for Washington County, Madison County. Forget about severe weather. The only threat that we have is in the River Valley. And we can see this line right here moving into the Johnson, Logan, and Scott County. And these storms are moving quick. They're probably moving about 50, 60 miles per hour, but they are producing 70 miles per hour winds. And we're watching them, just keeping you updated. If you live in the Clarksville area, the winds are going to be picking up pretty soon here for you. Zoom into some other towns. New Blaine, Ozone. These are the areas that are going to be seeing these considerable winds here coming up pretty soon. Danville, down there, Gravelly. Moving into southern Scott County, the winds aren't as strong. So the Waldron area, the Bowles area, 60 miles per hour winds, still damaging, but I'm not like what we're seeing up in Logan County. I can give you the latest information on that storm. You just pop that up right there. So this severe storm warning goes until 5:15 in the morning, and we'll probably stay on until then. And all right, here's the latest update for that storm. So let's see. It looks like they might be downgrading it. No, they still have the considerable. So they chose to extend the considerable tag. So this storm, the winds are still producing 70 miles per hour wind gusts here with this storm. So this new severe storm warning, it goes until 6 o'clock in the morning on this Sunday. It does include portions of Johnson, Logan, Pope, and Yell County. Cities that will be impacted are the Clarksville area, the Russellville, the Spadra area. Boonville is seeing some rain, some lightning, but the winds shouldn't be as bad. But the Clarksville area, that's where those winds are going to be ramping up. Still not really seeing any signs of rotation, which is a good thing. It's a good thing for us here. 5:12 a.m. current time. So pretty soon that warning, this warning right here, will expire at 5:15. Then we're just going to have this big warning that goes into almost central Arkansas here. But still tracking these storms, just getting you caught up on the wind speeds, because straight line damaging winds, that's what we are concerned about with this storm. 70 miles per hour with these storms. And it's early morning. People might be just waking up. People might be getting woken up by these storms, because if you have those winds in your area, it's pretty loud, and you're hearing thunder, you're hearing lightning, maybe hearing hail on your windowsill. I do want to get caught up on the hail and see the hail size. I do expect it to be going down a lot, but we can still see a little bit of hail. So this hail is not severe. And my iPad just crashed on me, so stand by with that. But we can see the hail size here. So by Ozark, we're seeing hail. It is below the severe criteria. So maybe up to half-inch size there, maybe dime-sized hail, but it is below the severe criteria. And I'm trying to get the iPad to connect. Sometimes the technology just doesn't want to cooperate with you. But, that is okay, because we have other options. So, all right, we're back in. All right, so let me zoom in on that. Yeah, so the Ozark area, just east of Ozark, we're seeing some of that hail down by Paris. Boonville, a little bit of hail, but really nothing too concerning for us. And that's strange how that camera's not working. That camera works. So here's Kisser looking west. It's quiet. Here's Waldron. So Waldron High School here, we're seeing some rain, we're lightning, and there's a big bolt right there. Still not concerned about tornadoes, but we do have the straight line winds. And we can see Clarksville, those winds are going to be picking up pretty soon. We've had a lot of reports of people without power. And so maybe, Jacob, if you're back there, you can maybe check on some power outages, and we can maybe pull those up if they are worth showing, because I think Prairie Grove had a decent amount of people without power earlier during the night. It is still, well, actually it's morning now. It's 5:15 a.m. Sunday morning. But I do want to get you the information on this severe storm. So we've got severe thunderstorm warning. We are in the eastern fringes of the coverage area. So we're in Johnson, Logan, Scott County. But these winds up to 70 miles per hour, considerable. So this severe storm warning goes until 6 o'clock in the morning. And then after that, we should be pretty good for the time being here. But during the afternoon, I think that we could be seeing these storms ramping back up. Yeah, we saw these storms form in Oklahoma, and I was tracking them coming in. I saw a severe storm in Sequoia County. They really raced through the area. Moving pretty quick, which is good. You can get out of here. See if we have any local storm reports of any wind. So it looks like we might here. So here are the storm reports for the past 24 hours. See what we have. So I think that is a wind gust report for That is a thunderstorm wind gust. Sebastian County, Fort Smith Regional Airport, up to 67 miles per hour. So that thunderstorm warning of 70 miles per hour was warranted. See what else we got here. So 442, we have a report of thunderstorm wind damage. Okay, all right, yeah, we've got a power outage map, and we can show you what's going on here. So looks like Sebastian County, about 3,000 people out with power. Franklin County, 382. Up into Crawford County, about 1,000. And Washington County, that's the Prairie Grove area, about 2,000 people without power. And we can thank those winds. And if you look at Scott and Logan County right now, really not many outages, but I think that could be going out, especially Logan County, because that's where those winds are going. And if you take weather 2, I can show you exactly what we're talking about with these winds. So there it is. Let me get rid of these boxes. We already know the details here. So eastern Logan County, that's where those winds are going to be going. Tokelon, pretty rural area. Knoxville area, Scranton, Delaware, up into Johnson County, Clarksville, Ozone. I think that these areas will be seeing some power outages later on. Well, pretty shortly here, as these storms are moving quickly through the coverage area. Watches and warnings. So National Weather Service has cropped out a lot of our counties. So the severe storm watch is gone for Northwest Arkansas. Severe storm threat is over. You don't need to be concerned about the weather if you're in Washington County, Benton County, Delaware, Adair. Sequoia County is over. But if you live in Franklin County, Johnson, Logan, Scott, Sebastian, Crawford, and LaFleur, you still need to be weather aware for at least the next hour or so. Severe storm warning, considerable tag through 6 a.m., 70 miles per hour winds for Johnston and Logan County. Also Pope and Yale, but those are outside the coverage area. Time is 5:19. Still no signs of any circulations, which is good. That's the last thing we want. But those winds are strong. So really the only areas of concern are Scott County, far eastern Scott County, Logan County, and up into Johnson County. And we were looking at those storm reports earlier, and I'm kind of interested to see what else happened. Let me find that. Oh. So there was a report of some wind damage. So signs blown down, intersection off of Zero Street. Looks like in Sebastian County. That was 4:42 in the morning. And I think we had some hail reports as well. You zoom in really close. We had another .60 miles per hour thunderstorm wind gust. Also hail just under 1 inch at Phoenix Avenue, 4:36 in the morning. Time of that report. Had a hail report. It's probably not anything crazy huge. Yeah, quarter size hail. So not a whole lot of damage was reported. Which is good, but warranted that 70 miles per hour tag was warranted. All right. Still tracking those storms in our eastern counties, but those are going to be out here soon. And I think the winds might be dying down, but I really have to look at Mega Doppler to see how fast the winds are exactly. And I do want to do that. So I'm going to actually go over to the Weather Center. So I'm going to keep this on the wall, and then we're going to check out some stuff at the Weather Center here. Weather Lab. Okay. Jacob, take the Weather Lab full. You can do that. All right. So I want to look at Mega Doppler right now. So if we can kind of have like maybe me in a box, right hand corner, and then have weather 1 in that main panel. Thank you. Perfect. So tracking these storms, moving through. Let's see how strong these winds are. Oh yeah, still super strong. Yeah, see these shades of pink, the oranges. We're getting up to 70 miles per hour. So we are seeing these destructive winds with these storms, and can actually do a storm track for you. Moving east at 50 miles per hour, so that is old. Fix that for you. Pretty soon these are going to be out of the coverage area. But here's that track for these 70 miles per hour winds. You can see the areas listed. Ozone 526, Danville 533, Rover 539, Russellville around 543, just outside the coverage area for the Russellville, Pottsville 549, and then continuing on, Atkins 557, Blackwell 605, Morrilton 614. And the onset of these winds might be a couple minutes before the time that's actually listed there, just because that's usually how it works. The winds kind of outrun these storms, especially in this setup here. But pretty soon these storms will be out of the coverage area, and then we can drop off coverage. But here is a look at the radar. We got the polygons up, so notice how that thicker polygon is a damaging thunderstorm. And the pink shades, we can see, even see a little bit of oranges in there. Those are the winds up to 70 miles per hour. Some hail too, maybe even some severe hail. Clarksville area. Yep, so we can see the hail is there, and it's approaching severe levels by the Clarksville area. And severe hail is quarter size. So that's what we're seeing in Logan County and in Johnson County. But most of the area is pretty quiet now. These storms are moving out. Clarksville, you're about to see the 70 miles per hour winds. Still no signs of rotation here. I don't think we will see tornadoes this morning. A different story could be seen during the afternoon, though, and I'll show you that. I'll show you the latest risk here in just a second. But Logan County, the severe storm threat, those storms are moving out, just far eastern fringes. Clarksville area, you are about to see some heavy rain. Let me turn the lightning on. See how much lightning is out there. Yeah, just decent amount of lightning. But the wind is the main risk with these storms. Base velocity is actually not crazy bad up by Clarksville, but the Knoxville area is. No signs of rotation. This right here is storm relative velocity. That's why it looks a bit different. Normalized rotation. Shows a little bit of rotation there, but looks a little bit suspicious. And I think that area might not be outflow dominant. So still nothing to be crazy concerned about, but a little bit of rotation in the upper levels in the Logan County area. Obviously, Southern Johnson. We can see normalized rotation, some darker blues, south of Lamar, northwest of Knoxville. But that's going to be out of the forecast area really shortly. Turn off this lightning. So I am watching that. I do have that in the back of my mind, but I do want to give you a quick update on what we are going to be dealing with later on today. So here's the day one outlook. So we've got, let me get rid of these. We can see another day, another 2 out of 5, slight risk for severe weather. And here is the tornado threat. Notice how it was a bit lower on Saturday. So I think later on today, Sunday, during the evening hours, I think we have to watch out for some rotating storms. And the threat should taper off Sunday nights, but Monday, that's going to be the main event. It's been a very active pattern. Hail is going to be an issue as well. Maybe not significant hail for our area. We can see that the hatched area is just outside the coverage area. And this is for later on during the afternoon, evening hours. As far as this morning, we are tracking those storms, but they should be out of here pretty soon. And I do want to show you Monday as well, real quick. Here is Monday. So the day 2 is a big enhanced risk for severe weather. And this is a hatched tornado area, the whole forecast area. So Monday, we really have to be weather aware. The wind, high, and the hail, high hatched. So that's some pretty serious readings right there for the hail risk. Do not want to see that happen. But as of right now, here is the radar. And these storms are moving out of the forecast area. And these strong winds are about to leave. Johnson County, the winds really aren't warranted the considerable tag. But Logan County, it is. But those are moving out. A little bit of hail. Yeah, now the hail's kind of grown up to quarter size, maybe a little bit bigger by the Clarksville area. So if you live in Clarksville, you're seeing the hail, but it's too late to get the car inside. You don't want to be outside in this. You don't want to be outside in those winds. So leave the car outside. Hail this size probably won't even damage it. Check normalized rotation. Nothing crazy concerning, and that's going to be out here pretty shortly. So these winds are leaving, so I think what we're going to do now is, Jacob, I think we're going to drop off a coverage, and we'll continue on the stream for a little bit longer. But until then, it is 5:31 a.m. on this Sunday morning. And even though we're dropping off severe weather coverage, we're still seeing some storms. We are going to be on social media. And later on today, we could be seeing some more severe weather. We'll be cutting in if need be. But until then, thanks for choosing the Your Weather Authority team.
All right, so just dropped off TV coverage because the wind threat is moving out of the area, and the hill isn't really even that big. So I missed all the comments. Yeah, so 75 miles per hour gusts just reported south of Clarksville. Believe it. I believe it. That's why we're on those storms. That's no joke. Let me find that report. Yeah, I just got a update from the director Jacob. A lot of outages in Scott County. Wow. Okay, yeah. Appreciate update. Yeah, here's 75 miles per hour wind gusts at around 520 for Scranton. Some pretty serious winds. And I do want to show you these here. Hold on. Ready for this. All right. You see that? So we got power outages. Let's go back. Okay, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people without power in Scott County, about 1,000. And that's because of those winds that came through. Logan County, not as much. Or Johnson, but Scott County saw a lot of power outages. Kind of weird how that happens because it looked like the winds were stronger up in Logan County there. Yeah, so that is the outages, and I'm pretty thirsty. Yeah, so for us, the severe storm threat is going away. Storms are moving out. Say goodbye. Goodbye. Thanks for messing up my sleep for the day. Storms. Yeah, there's no rotation. Storms are moving out. Still, though, some strong winds here. But those are now moving out of the forecast area. So we're done. Still some hail, though. This MCS meant business, and I kind of had an idea that this was going to happen. The models were hinting at this MCS a couple days in advance, and I kind of knew, in the back of my mind, I kind of thought this might happen. But the whole gang wasn't here. Dan, Peyton, Josh weren't here because, the tornado threat, it really wasn't there. Straight line winds though, 70 miles per hour. That's worth covering, especially when it's going through Fort Smith area. But I don't think Fort Smith had the considerable winds. I really think that it was only up to 60. Let's see. Yeah, 67 and Barling and 60 in Mill Creek. And you were not seeing those. Sorry about that, but there was a 60 miles per hour wind gust in Mill Creek and 67 at the Fort Smith Regional Airport. Huntsville, Arkansas, no electricity, apparently. Or at least where you are. Yeah, hate seeing the power outages. Hopefully they can get that back on because yeah, let's do that. Can you show us the future track for tomorrow, which is today? What wait, are you talking about Monday? Because Monday is the main event, but Sunday afternoon evening does have a threat for severe weather as well. And I can show you that. So here's future track. Rewind. All right, noontime was quiet. So I do think church services, I think Sunday morning should be pretty good. Not really have to worry about anything. But here is the evening on. Sorry about that. All right. So here's a future track showing Sunday morning. So I think church services Sunday morning looks pretty quiet. But here's what happens late afternoon, evening. We have some storms moving in, and we can see LaFleur County again. Those storms could mean business. But the coverage really isn't that widespread. That's one model. Let's look at another model. Let's look at this model. This has more storms. But this did not have the MCS that came through. That could be trouble. That could be trouble. Another MCS moving into Northwest Arkansas. Yeah, so Sunday, I think Sunday afternoon, evening, we'll have some surprises for us. That doesn't look good. But here's Monday. That is really not good. Oh, come on. I think Monday afternoon, evening, that is the time that we really have to watch out for. Nope, Jacob, you are good to go. I was just about to go and say that to you, but appreciate you coming in. And yeah, I think rest of the morning it should be pretty quiet, and then Michaela can handle it in the afternoon. Appreciate it. So I just sent Jacob home because we're done doing cut-ins for the morning on this Sunday. But here's a future track. That's the graph model. Let's look at the HRRR model. For Monday. Oh boy. It's just a model, but it looks like Monday could be a big deal. All right. So just reading some comments. Yeah, appreciate all the comments. Severe storm threat. It's pretty much over for the area. Storms are moving out. We're done. Yeah, and the strong winds are east of the coverage area. So, go away. Yeah, see, the models were kind of hinting at this. So, if in a couple hours, if you have Sunday morning brunch, I don't know, or a church service, you might deal with some rain in northwest Arkansas. Sadly, we can see it forming off to our west. I didn't believe it, but now we see it. No lightning. Well, actually, no, there is lightning with those storms. Come on. Yeah, a little bit of light. All right, a lot of lightning with those storms, but I don't think those will be severe. They better not be. Let's get a look at them. Pinnacle. Stand by. That's a look at those storms from our Pinnacle Parkway Towers camera. Still a ways away out by Tulsa, but these could impact the morning here. I don't think they'll be severe, but we will be watching it. Even the camera got tired. Look at those storms out by Russellville, just a whole lot of lightning. Yep, but until then, I do think I'm going to end this stream because I gotta get to bed. I haven't even gone to bed yet. But appreciate all the comments. Hope everybody stayed safe through those storms because those winds were strong. Until then, we are going to hang it up and we'll be back on later if need be. Thanks a lot.